Alright, what do you do before buying a house in Albany? Well, you sit back and relax and you watch this video, and I'm going to give you 7 things that you need to do before buying your house in Albany. Alright, so the first few things you gotta do is you gotta get the money situation in order here. So you wanna check out step number 1, which you gotta get yourself pre-approved or pre-qualified for. And they're basically the same, but there is a little bit of a difference. The pre-qualified is basically you tell the bank your personal information as far as financials, employment, etc., etc., etc. And they'll tell you what you're pre-qualified for. You wanna take that a step further to the second phase of this, and that's get pre-approved, which means you actually provide the documentation, W-2s, pay stubs, proof of employment, your financial history, all that kind of stuff to them, whatever the lender requires. And they're all different. They're all going to require, a lot of them require some of the same things, but some are going to require different things that others wouldn't. But you provided all that information to them, they're going to spit you out a pre-approval. And that's going to give you an idea of where to start in the process, how much money you can afford for a house. So that's going to be the first thing that you're going to want to do is get yourself pre-approved, pre-qualified. The second step you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to check your credit score, okay? Because that's going to actually have some determining factor of how much you qualified for in interest rate. The higher your credit score, the better the interest rate you're going to get, or the lower interest rate you're going to get, which over a 15, 25, 30-year loan could add up to a lot of money. So check out that credit score, because if it's a little bit low and it's not quite where you want to be, or you think you can do better, work on improving that credit score. Take a little bit of time to get that credit score up so you can get that mortgage rate down. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is down payment. How much money do you need for a down payment? Well, it depends on a couple different things. 1, the type of mortgage that you're taking. 2, how much you're borrowing, because a lot of it is based on a percentage. So let's just say your regular, conventional, 30-year fixed, generally about 20% down. So a $200,000 house is going to cost you $40,000 in a down payment. Now, not always, because there's other situations here where if you went for an FHA loan, an FHA loan can be as low as 5%. 5% of that same $200,000 loan is $10,000 down, because for every $100,000 you borrow, it's 5%. So for $200,000, that's $10,000, which is quite a bit different than the $40,000 you would need for the conventional. And there's pluses and minuses. Talk to a mortgage lender, and they can help you out. And a bank, they should all be able to help you out and explain to you what's best for you. And if I got any veterans out there, there is a VA loan, which in a lot of situations for VA loans, people can qualify for up to 0% down. So you can get into that dream home without putting a dime out of pocket for a down payment. There's some other expenses, but for the down payment, which is generally the biggest one, you can get in there without having to pay anything down. If you're not sure where to get started with this, reach out and get a hold of me, because I've got some great lenders that I've worked with in the past that have done a great job at educating people and helping them getting qualified for a mortgage. All right, number 4 we want to talk about here is how much you can afford. And this is a general rule, and everybody's in a different situation, but in general rule is 28% of your gross monthly income should be set, could be able to go for principal payment, which is the actual loan payment, interest, which is the interest on that loan, and insurance. So for those 3 things, 28% down. So we're talking $10,000. If you have a gross income of $10,000 a month, then for those 3 things, principal payment, interest, taxes, $2,800 is 28% of that. So the first 4 things we talked about were really the financial side to it. We're going to switch gears for these final 3 here. We're going to talk a little bit about markets and the areas you want to be in. So let's get right into it here with number 5. What you now have to think about is, where do you want to live? One of the big things people always consider is how far in proximity to where they work do they live. Commute. Some people don't mind driving a little bit. Some people want to be walking distance. So that's another thing you want to think about. Do you want to be walking distance to amenities? What type of amenities are you near? Do you want to be near a school? Do you want to be near public transportation? Do you want to not be near any of that? And you want to be out in the country a little bit and have 3-4 acres to yourself. So it all is just depending on where you would like to be. So keep that in mind where you'd like to be located in that one, which leads us right into the next step here. So number 6 is the conditions of the market. Make sure you reach out to your local real estate agent, like say the guy talking to you on camera right here, maybe could definitely help you out with this phase. You want to know the market conditions. You want to know the supply, the demand, where are prices, competition of other people in there. It's regular supply and demand, just like any other market. When the inventory is high and there's not a lot of people buying, then those prices tend to be down a little bit. In reverse, there's a lot of people looking and there's not a lot of inventory, then those prices tend to be inflated and high a little bit, and anything in between. So I can help you with that situation. Reach out to me. I can give you an idea of what's going on in the current market conditions. Number 7, you'll want to consider what type of home do you want to live in. Do you want a townhome, condo, single family home, something with an HOA, so they're doing the shoveling and the lawn mowing for you? Or you can take the route that I took when I purchased my first home, a multifamily home, which was a great option for me because I was able to live in one apartment and I rented out the other 2 while I was getting there, so I was making money as well as living in the place. I was definitely paying less to own my house than I had friends who were off renting. They were paying somebody else's mortgage where I had my renters paying mine. It worked out great for me because in a couple years I turned around, I sold that place, and I used the equity from the sale of it to turn around and purchase my next home. And another advantage of doing that is you could take the rent, a portion of the rent from the other 2 apartments, and apply that towards income, which will help you qualify for a little bit higher of a mortgage there to maybe get it into a little bit bigger or nicer place than you thought you could get into. So keep those in mind. Okay, so those are the 7 things. Let's go back and recap them really quick. You want to check your credit score. You want to determine how much you can afford, how much for a down payment, how much can you afford to borrow. Remember, we got to talk to lenders about that. If you need one, get a hold of me. I can refer you to a couple different lenders that I've used. The condition of the markets. Those are important to know. The type of property you want to live into and where you want to live in relation to what's going on in your life. So I'm Chris McMahon. Those are the 7 things you want to consider before buying a home in Albany. If you got any questions, reach out, get a hold of me. You call, text, email, anything. I'm always working for you. Reach out, get a hold of me. I would love to answer any of those questions, help you out any way that I can. And make sure you subscribe and click that bell before you get out of here. Guys, I will see you on the next video.